All right, I just wanted to cover a couple of the main points as to why we find it difficult to express our emotions at the time. Because the thing is that we have all sorts of things happen in our life. So our life events, life experience, the good and the bad, the traumas, and they're all associated with emotions that want to be discharged at the time. Now, I covered this on my masterclass, and I have, for a short period of time, I can't think of the word, converted the masterclass video into a podcast. So it's on my podcast and it's only going to be up there for 10 days. You don't need to register to get hold of it, but if you want to watch the video, you can. But I'm just taking little snippets out of the masterclass and putting them on here for those of you who can't sit through 2 hours of it. So yeah, basically, why is it that we don't express emotions at the time? And so 2 of the main reasons I find is, one is because of the Western society that we live in, and we are very busy people by nature and usually have other priorities and other things to get done in life. So it becomes inconvenient to express emotions, feel sad, to feel angry, because it stops us from doing our normal daily living activities. And I'll explain these a little bit further in a second. The second reason is because you might have been brought up, particularly in your family environment, with different conditioning and beliefs as to how to express your emotions. So you might not have really had healthy emotional expression modeled to you, or you were told that certain emotions were bad, or that they showed that you were weak if you expressed these. So let me get into a couple of examples. So the first one of Western society and it being inconvenient to express your emotions because you just got to get on with your day, you've got to maybe look after kids, do your job to pay off your debts or your mortgage and various other things. Grief is the best example that I use for this. So grief is when people usually think it's loss of a person, but grief can be on so many different levels. So grief can be loss of anything. It can be your pet, it can be of the life that you once lived. In the case of surgery, it can be loss of a body part. This comes up a lot with people with breast cancer who have had mastectomies and they have lost a breast, or hysterectomies is another one as well, so loss of the body part, that uterus. But you can grieve so many different things. But if I use that example that I used in the masterclass of grief of a loved one or a person, this could be a family member, a friend, anything like that. I'm just trying to recall what I was saying, sorry. So in the Western world with funerals, we just have a different culture about it. And so someone passes away and there's all these masculine practicalities to take care of, like organising a funeral, organising wills. And a common thing that I see when I'm working with clients is that there are family feuds that happen after the death because of inheritances and what is written in the will. And this all of a sudden takes over the grieving process to get these masculine and practical activities done to make sure everything is lined up for the future. And in addition to that, when you're grieving, other people sometimes don't know how to approach you and they might be grieving and they burden you with their own emotions as well. So all of a sudden you've got all these things to manage and you put that energy out there and you forget to process your own emotions of grief. And so if you think of things like organising a will and inheritances and estates and just general things like that, my daughter is losing it in the room next door with my husband. So she's having her own little emotional release after coming back from kids club, trying to focus here. So yeah, when you're distracted by all those things, and some people try and distract themselves, you suppress the emotion. And if you suppress the emotion over a period of time, it can actually be really hard to access it. So when you finally have the space and time, the safe space and time to express, you go back and you think, okay, I'm going to grieve now, and you forget. You can't tap into the sensation, you can't get the tears, you can't get the sadness to come up. So this is where processing can be really useful. Okay, so that is one of the reasons, the Western society, the busyness around grief and loss, that stops us from actually expressing our emotions. There are many others, but those are the ones that people usually resonate with. And then the second one is being brought up in a family where you weren't taught how to express emotions, or you were told that certain emotions were bad. So 2 examples would be anger and sadness. So I always say that anger is a very healthy emotion to express. It's actually what helps us transform and create things. But anger is not healthy when it causes harm to others and when it causes harm to ourselves. And it can manifest in very different ways depending on what your constitution is and what is going on for you. So again, examples would be that you were brought up in a really angry household where your parents or one of your parents perhaps expressed their anger in a really explosive and fearful way. This could be verbally, but it could have gotten to the harmful end where it was emotional abuse or physical abuse, which obviously isn't ideal. So that's what you grow up with. And either you mimic that behavior because that's all you know, that's the only way you know how to express your anger when you're older, or you shy away from it because you feared it. You feared what you saw it do to other people, to your other parent or to your siblings. And so you only see anger as a bad thing that hurts people, and you don't want to do that. So you never express anger, even in its healthy form that helps you create and transform. Okay, and then the other example is sadness, of just sadness being expressed in tears. And now we all know that you can have happy tears as well, but we're talking about the sad tears. And it could be stop crying because it's not appropriate here. Just being told, stop crying. And it's like, well, I'm a child, my emotions are coming up. Kids are really good at letting their emotions just flow, but you're telling me this is bad and that I need to stop it. And so that becomes a belief that you shouldn't be crying, you should always stop crying, or that it's weak to cry. So those are my 2 examples of why we don't express emotions in the moment and suppress them in our body. And that is a snippet of what I shared in my masterclass, amongst many, many, many other things. And you can get the replay, but I have just uploaded it to my podcast, The Art of Listening to Your Body. If you want to go and grab it, I'm only going to put it up there for 10 days. The podcast, I think, is just a little bit easy because you can download it and listen to it later. And it does go for just over 2 hours. But I think listening to the masterclass, if you want to watch the video or listen to the podcast, all in one go is a little bit better than pulling all these snippets out. But I'm jumping on here live to share the little snippets with you, and hopefully you dive in deeper. And then of course, if you want to take the work even further, then the 6-week release course is open for you to sign up, and it's in its early bird phase at the moment until the 24th of July. And we've already got a decent bunch of people on board, and we do have a few guides. I've always wanted more guides on my courses. Most of them I've only had one. We do have an amazing male support coach and a couple of other support coaches on board. We've made sure that we've picked a really great variety. So thanks everybody who did join me. Hi Joe and Kiri, Cynthia, and I saw Teo as well. Thank you, and I'll be jumping on here daily, and let me know if you've got any questions at all. See ya.